Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air. It is Tuesday, and we're live streaming here on social media platforms from the Alpha Media Studio here at WSGW. And we've got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about events that are happening in our communities throughout Michigan. And what we're talking about is the Holy Moly contest, Holy Mole contest in Detroit, as well as we're kicking off, of course, Christmas with Angels for the 2023 season. And that's going to require a lot of contributions from a lot of our community to help us to bring the gift of Christmas to the children this year. So my guests tonight are Elvis Machul from Christmas with Angels, as well as Maria Elena Rodriguez, who is a historian author from the Southwest Detroit community. So join me here on Mi Gente on Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Mi Gente on Air. And I'm happy to be here with you tonight as we have a new show tonight. I know that sometimes if we don't have a new show, some of my listeners out there get mad. But life happens, and sometimes I can't make it into the studio for whatever reason. But I'm just joyful to be here tonight, and anytime I can be here, because as you know, and some of you may not know, November 15th is the anniversary of Mi Gente on Air, and today is November 14th. So we're actually 3 years that we've been doing this show, and I'm really surprised because had you asked me 3 years ago, would I be around here 3 years doing this show? I probably would have said no. But it's been a blast. It's been wonderful. We've been really, bringing out the contributions and the concerns and the culture of our community. And we're at the table with Mi Gente on Air. So it's a good thing. And I'm happy to be able to have the guests that I've had, whether they're national figures or local figures that are here. We're all contributing to the society and getting through life. And one of the guest that I have tonight, he's been on the show a couple of times, but tis is the season because we're about to head into tamale season as well as Christmas. And that means that Christmas with Angels is going to start being in full swing. And my guest tonight here is Elvis Machul from Christmas with Angels. And we're going in is it our 6th or 7th year, Elvis?
It is our 7th year.
7th year of giving the gift of Christmas. And I just want to say that we in the past have helped over 800 kids in the last 6 years. 800 kids. I think the number for exact is 863. 863 kids. And with this year's Christmas with Angels, we're going to hit over 1,000 kids that we have given the gift of Christmas to, the needy children in our area who just need a little bit of help, their parents. And we're going to be those angels again this season. And we hope that the community will really get behind it. So let me introduce to you Elvis Machul from Christmas with Angels. How you doing, Elvis?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. Excited to talk about Christmas with Angels and helping the children out in our community.
So let's go back to 6 years ago and let's tell the story about Christmas with Angels, because I'm not sure everybody out there in the listening world understands what we're talking about when we're talking about Christmas with Angels. Now, we know that there's Toys for Tots and other entities and organizations that help with Christmas. Why Christmas with Angels?
Christmas Angels is something different. It's something more in depth. We're not a gift giving. We bring the gift of Christmas to children in need. So what does that mean? Well, I'll start back with the original question. How did it come about? We knew there was children, Gilbert Guevara, Bobby DeLeon, and then also Larry Rodarte, knew there was a need in our community for, kids and children. They weren't having a Christmas. They didn't have a Christmas tree to come down the stairs they'd come to. There was no gifts under a tree. They were going to school the following weeks, and kids were, saying all the wonderful gifts that they got, and they didn't have that ability. And that, to me and all of us leaders in the community, just it breaks your heart. So we set out to raise $3,000 and help 10 families. Well, with that drive that we did 6 years ago, we actually helped 25 families, and we raised over $10,000 and birthed the Christmas Angels. We're a group of volunteers, an awesome group of dedicated volunteers. Katarina Barajas and Inez Perez and Daniel Sosa and Miss Estrada and Erica Roses, Elvis Machul Jr., Savannah Machul Jr., and the community. We are sponsored, heavily sponsored. Last year we had over 80 we've grown to 80 sponsorships where every dollar goes back to the children. And it's really, really important. It's a gem. We're recognized by the mayor and many groups as the largest entity, that gives Christmas to children in need. And it's all local. 100% that's what we really pride ourselves. 100% of your donations go to 100% of the children right here locally, which is big. I was just at a Christian concert at Little Caesars, and they sponsored 850 children. They went out in the crowd, and the crowd sponsored 850 children. But those were amongst the nation. And I was just sitting in awe, like, wow, 850 children off of a couple of hours. And I just thought about that. All the donations stay here, and it's a beautiful thing. And we love to collaborate and give back to local children.
So when you're talking about local children, because when you talk about, like Gil Guevara, myself, Bobby, you, we're all Hispanic, and it started as a Hispanic kind of group of individuals, leaders that came up with the idea, but it's not just for Hispanics, right?
That's a great observation. 90% of our committee, we call ours, the committee is Hispanic. Many of those graduated with the Great Lakes Bay Hispanic Leadership Institute here in the Great Lakes Bay region in 2011. And we started off the first year saying, hey, if we could just help 10, Hispanic families. And then as we got applications in, a child doesn't, have the ability to know what they know, but they don't have the ability to pick their parents, right? It's not right to just select families and or children based on race, gender, demographic, or geographic. All children should qualify, and it's very, very important as us leaders, we set the tone and we select, we do an in-depth in selecting the families. We read every application, and we really go above and beyond to make sure we pick those families that are in need. And I can't say enough. It's the hardest night to pick those families, but we do a great job, and we got a great team of volunteers, and that's how it all works.
Yeah, I can attest to that. It is very difficult because we have, how many applications did we actually have last year?
Last year was really tough. Last year it took almost 5 hours, and we had over 100 applications that we had to read through, and then reread through, and then reread through. And our goal last year was only to select 40 families. And through the contributions and the 80 sponsors that came, we raised over $30,000 last year, blew our goal out the water, and we selected 79 families and sponsored 174 children, which it was a tremendous amount of work, but it was so, if you've never been out to Christmas Angels, the family event, it's happening this December 16th at the Dow Event Center. We're blessed to have them as a sponsor, and it just changed. To see those kids and children and know that they get the gift of Christmas and they get to open up gifts with Santa, it changes your whole mentality about Christmas, because it's truly just a blessing to watch the kids. So it's a blessing just to be part of a great group of volunteers.
And that's who they are. The Christmas with Angels, the volunteers are the angels. And this year, like Elvis said, it's going to be at the Dow Event Center in the Red Room, where we're going to have the Christmas trees up and be able to pass out the different gifts to the children. And part of the difference that we have this year with Christmas with Angels is as we go and shop for the different gifts for kids, for the families that are selected, we're going to have a different shopping area, correct?
We are looking at partnerships. Walmart has always been a sponsor since year one. We're also looking at potentially going to Meijer, because Meijer is a locally, Michigan-based company, and that means a lot to support local. So make sure when you're buying things, make sure to support local businesses. It's important, especially nowadays. It's big. So we're looking at all avenues to make sure we're giving back to our local businesses.
So, what do you think when we say that this season, this Christmas with Angels in 2023, we will have helped 1,000 children? What comes to your mind when you hear that, Elvis?
Um, wow, tears of excitement, tears of joy, and just knowing where it all started. And I keep on mentioning those dedicated volunteers and team and the community and the Justin Jaimes of and all those and organizations that stepped up. If I start naming all the organizations, I could be here for an hour or two, but it's just so beautiful to see and know that you help those children. And many of those families reach out now. Many of those families come and volunteer. Many of those children now 6 years, somewhere 8 or 9, and now you see them at 14 and 15 when they come back and volunteer and they give you those hugs. I'm getting goosebumps, thinking about it. It's just been an amazing experience. And to know we're at 1,000 children and we're not just handing out gift cards. You kind of mentioned it. It's a process. So it's an amazing feat. It's monumental, and it's awesome that we're doing it right here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
So when we do select a family, what happens? Because I am an angel, and you actually take the parents, you go shopping at Walmart, as we have mentioned in the past, and you select the gifts considering what the parents will say. Well, they would like this, they would like that, but you also, as an angel, you look at the age and you think, well, what would a child like at 6 years of age? I know last year I had 4 children that I was shopping for. So you're actually out there with the cart and you're putting toys, and sometimes we have had to exclude some of what the parents may suggest, and that's one of those items that are very expensive that we don't want them to just get. What type of
Just like major electronics.
Yeah.
Major electronics are out there. It takes up a bulk of the donation. But in the past 2 years, we've really seen a change. Last year was a lot of clothes. Coming out of COVID, you've seen a lot of people really taking their time. And when I mean taking their time in Walmart, that's been so generous over the years, to shop specifically for their children. And we saw a lot of clothes, a lot of hats, a lot of gloves, a lot of, as far as, toiletries, as far as for them. It's just, you've seen a difference, but then you also got to remind them, hey, make sure you get the children gifts.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of need out there in our community.
I'm a firm believer that they're going to want toys.
Yes.
Yeah. And because that's when you really see them opening up the gifts and their face light up and they're so happy. And sometimes when they get the clothes, they just kind of throw them off to the side. And so, really it's a beautiful thing to see these children, opening their gifts on that day. And that's what we do at the Red Room. They will each get their gifts according to their name. And we also have angels who help and volunteer and wrap these gifts, because you'll have a whole room full of Christmas gifts, and it takes a long time, and we really need the volunteers, people who are good at wrapping, to get out there and help us with that, so that we on Christmas on the 7th, when is it, the 7th, 16th?
The wrapping party
Yeah.
is at the Red Room at the Dow Event Center, December 15th. We'll start at 5 p.m. until. We're probably going to aim for 5-6 Christmas trees, because I just got this feeling that we're going to have a lot of donations and we're going to be able to select more than 25-30 families. And then our actual family event will be the next day, which is December 16th. It will be from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we look to, as far as I heard, Santa Claus and Miss Claus will be coming down from the North Pole. And, we look to have several Christmas trees. And I heard we're going to have some good food for the families to eat, and then some different things for them to do. So we're excited. That's always one of the best days.
Yeah, it really is. And I want to give credit to the Hyman family, as you mentioned, because when we started this, and as Elvis alluded to, the fact that many of the Great Lakes Bay Hispanic Institute graduates were a part of this from the class of 2011. there was an individual, Justin Hyman, who was from the class of 2010, and his father was the president at the time of the Hispanic Business Association. And I think that they really came through and pushed us to an area where we were much more confident that we were going to be able to do this and raise the money needed, because I think their initial donation was like 3,000, wasn't it?
The initial, so I had mentioned that.
1,000?
Yep, nope. The first year was at the Adelante Awards, and our goal was $3,000, and went on stage. You called me up on a whim, and he said, "Just explain Christmas Angels," and I told a story, and the Jaime family stood up and said, "We'll give you the $3,000,"
Yeah.
and they met our goal on that day, and I mean, it started all from there.
And they've given every year, so they've really
Yeah.
been that
Awesome.
that individual group that has really helped us, and has helped us every year. So wonderful. Kudos to them. But there have been many since, and we're really happy for anybody the individual person that may only give $25 to the person or organization or company that gives $1,000. We are very glad to accept any amount, because we know that all those funds are going 100% to the kids. And it's really a beautiful thing in our Hispanic community, because it is Hispanic based, but we also help those that are non-Hispanic that are in need as well. So
Absolutely.
if you're listening out there and you may not be Hispanic and you want to, donate to this effort for it's called Christmas with Angels, and Elvis Machul heads us up, and there's a number of different of us angels, and you can contact us, whether you contact me at the Union Civica or you want to contact Elvis directly. We accept all donations in regards to Christmas with Angels. Anything else, Elvis?
Yeah, if you know a family in need, go to our Christmas with Angels. Like I said, we're a volunteer organization. We're not a nonprofit. We're a group of volunteers looking to help local children. Everything is on our Facebook page. Check us out, Christmas with Angels. We have the 2023 family applications on there right now. We have the wrapping party on there right now. We also have a event coming up. This is in Bay City, at Gilly's Bistro, over on Saturday. We're just doing a telethon. We'll be there from 5 to 7 p.m. Gilly's is sponsored. We just came from TNT Authentic last Sunday. So, and our history's on there. We can't say enough thank you to all the community that supports. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the La Union Civica Mexicana hosted us for the first 4 or 5 years. And we can't say enough about those that are at the Civica All-Stars. Thank you so much for all your support. And then also those that built Candyland in Alberto Jimenez, which does so many great things. The Mexican American Council, for all your support. Thank you for all you do. And all the other different organizations. Like I said, there's many of them, all the locals, consumers, and so many others. Every single dollar counts. We leverage every dollar to make sure that we give the gift of Christmas to children, local children in need. And, we pride ourselves on that. We can't say thank you again to all the volunteers. Thank you.
And when we do have that Christmas wrapping party that we have the night before, and it's going to be at the Dow Event Center Red Room, we will have pizzas probably on hand as well, because we're there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And so if you like to rap and you like to hear Christmas music and you want to just be in the festivities of Christmas with Angels, we accept volunteers, because we're going to need them. And if you really have anybody who just has some extra time and would like to come and join us, we welcome everyone, because it's a really nice time of year. And we really like the joyful attitude that we have as angels going into the next day. So it's all about the kids, and we're all trying to make our communities better. And I don't know of too many organizations that get so involved as we do with Christmas Angels. I'm not knocking anybody any means, but this is something that I remember as a child. When those of us who are old enough can remember that the Elks Club, the Shriners that were over at the Temple Theater, next to the Temple Theater, I should say, the building, they used to have a similar event where children of all walks in the Saginaw community would come in, and they had a mural, I remember, with camels and the three wise men, and they had Santa Claus there, and they had one gift for each child that came in. If anybody in the audience remembers that, it can't just be me, right? But yeah, it was something that was really a beautiful event. And I just remember my whole family going down there, and we were just happy. And then you would walk out on the sidewalk, and you would be in front of the Morley building with the mannequins that move like in New York City. We had that here in the city of Saginaw, and it was at where currently Morley Plaza is. But the gift of Christmas, that's really meaningful. I know it touches many of our hearts, those of us who are angels and those that are at the event. So we want to, really wake up the community and say, now's the time. We need the sponsorship. We need the help, because as we work to the goal of presenting these gifts to these children, we need your help. So any sponsors that we have hit in the past that may be looking to give a donation again this year, we are willing to accept that, and we're real happy to have you on board as well. So any last comments, Elvis, that you can think of that we're forgetting?
No, it's just as far as really important. Larry kind of touched on it, right? Bringing the gift of Christmas. It's one thing if we were to go out and buy, as far as gift cards and just hand them out. That's not why we signed up so many years ago. We want to select the families based on the donations we get, take all the families shopping, and that is a feat within itself. Take all the families shopping, and then from there, then we bring all the gifts to the Red Room at the Dow Event Center. We'll have the wrapping party on the 15th, December, and then we have bringing the gift of Christmas on. And it's so important, that part, because the joy of those kids in the room on December 16th is, if you've never witnessed it, please come out, because it'll change your life. And you always want to be a part, because knowing that child wasn't going to get a Christmas, it'll break your heart. And I want to do everything I can and everything that our team can do to help bring the gift of Christmas. And I just thank you for your support. If you need any additional information, we now have it easier than ever to donate. You can donate on PayPal. Just make sure you click Friends and Family. You can donate on Venmo, and you also can write a check to Christmas and Angels. And like I said, we leverage it. As far as every dollar will go to the kids, all the donations, 100% of the donations go to the children. And we looked at, if we exceed, I shouldn't say if, when we exceed 15,000, we'll be selecting more families. So thank you for all the support over the last 6 years. We couldn't have done without you. And wow, 1,000, children in our local area. I just can't. It's awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, it's really amazing if you think about it, 1,000 kids. We have Sue Soria on here, she's asking do you have to sign up for the wrapping party, or can you just show up?
Come on down. Come on down. If you have tape, if you have wrapping, paper, a lot of people don't think about that, like boxes, bring them, decorations, bring them. If you have, of course, we'll purchase some. Also, I forgot to mention, it'll be announced here shortly that Saginaw Valley State University wants to do a bring in supplies to get into a men's basketball game. So we're working with them behind the scenes to make that happen. So don't need to sign up.
We have to say, last year, SVSU basketball team, some of the guys came out and they helped in the wrapping process. And that was really a beautiful thing to witness, because I remember a young man, basketball player, he was teaching a young child who was maybe 4 or 5 years old, how to rap. And it just was nice to see how he interacted with the child. And this child was getting the gift of Christmas the next day, but he was just really listening to this basketball player and seeing him as somebody to look up to. And it was just a beautiful scene. So we have that help from SVSU. And if there's anybody out there that really wants to participate, get a hold of us, because we'll accept your participation in the wrapping party. We need the help, and it's just a joyful event. So thank you, everybody who has donated in the past. And if you've donated in the past and I've asked you for a donation, you better believe I'm going to be asking again. And
you'll hear from us.
Yeah. And we really appreciate that, because it helps so much in what this endeavor is. And sometimes the donation is what you give, but I also want you to participate if you can and attend the event this year. So we're looking forward to that. And we're just so thankful for all that have given through the 6 years. And we're going to continue this on. It's a great event for our community. And we're just so blessed to have the Angels and have Elvis Machul here in our studio tonight, and blessed that he is continuing on with this endeavor, Christmas with Angels. So if you got any questions or comments, leave them in the room tonight or give us a call and let us know. And we'll return to Mi Gente on Air with more about Christmas events happening in the state of Michigan.
You're listening to Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Thank you for being in the room. We got a number of people in the room today, and Elvis has another comment he wants to make that he's remembering now. So go ahead, Elvis.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure, like, if there's absolutely any other questions, sometimes we get sponsors with questions. Sometimes we get potential volunteers with questions. We get families with questions. I submitted my application. Am I selected? Well, you'll know if you're selected. If you're a family that put in an application, you'll know by December 8th. We'll reach out because the week of the 10th, we'll be taking family shopping. That way we can have all the gifts to the Dow Event Center Red Room on December 15th for our big wrapping party. And there was a great question somebody just asked. Do I have to sign up to come to the wrapping party? Come one, come all. I know there's a couple organizations. Yes, you can get volunteer hours. I know that Carlton High School is bringing a group of volunteers, students.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Hill, Roxanne Chintaka reached out, students. The SAC, which is Saginaw Valley Club that they have, it reached out. They want to come, and there's quite a few other local businesses that want to come out and volunteer too. So we're getting a lot of traction in that. So just thank you takes a lot of hands to make easy work. So we're thankful.
I've got a question, and it might be really easy or really hard. I don't know yet. Is there one memory, you've been doing this for 6-7 years now, is there one memory, whether it's taking a family shopping, whether it's seeing a kid open their present, that really sticks out to you?
Wow. Yeah, if you know me, that's not an easy question. And I'll try and be short worded on that, but no. It's always a tremendous amount of work, but to know that, and I hate to get biblical, but God put us on this earth to be better people. And I've said it before, like your emergency is not my emergency. Your, as far as situations, not my situation, or your lack of gifts is not my lack of gifts. But what if it is? And I say that to say this to everybody that's listening is put yourself in the position of a child that does not have the ability to have a Christmas, that has no tree, and that's in this world where their family's just struggling to pay the bills. And to that memory and to the question that was just asked, there's been so many of those instances. There's so many of those times where those kids will come up, whether they have a disability or autistic or small or 1 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, and just hug. And not only that, but their parents are so thankful. It's such a blessing to be a blessing and give back and be part of a great group that gets it. There's been so many memories. I'll never forget Christmas Angels. It's awesome, and it's touching. It's moving. Jimmy Green will tell you, if you want to ask anybody, ask Jimmy Green. He circles it on his every year he's there. He's gived from the very beginning, and when you're there and you see it in live in person and you're part of the process, it's touching. There's 500 memories. So that would be my answer to that question.
And some of the families that we have helped through the years, they've come back and they've been angels. They've helped us and volunteered. And I think that's a beautiful thing to see and witness, because they're giving back as they have, moved up the ladder a little and they're not so in need. So that's another plus, to see that those families are helping us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got several groups, several families that came back as far as to be able to help. And you get stopped in the grocery store or the convenience store, and they just say, hey, thank you. I went through a hard time, I may have lost my job, or may have had a disability, or may have had something complication at the hospital, whatever it may be. Right? Life happens. Life is going to happen to all of us at some point, and it's just great to have a great group of local, as far as leaders, step up and say, let's do something, let's make a difference. And through collaboration, donations, and a tremendous amount of sweat equity, we've been able to help provide, once again, 863 children the gift of Christmas, and this year we will go over 1,000 children. So it's been awesome, and I thank you, to all the dedicated volunteers. I know I've said that 5-6 times, and all the donations and the sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. So please, look at ways to sponsor, and know that we're all doing the right thing. So appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Elvis Machul. And we're going to go back into the show with our next guest here, and we're going to talk about mole. I know a lot of people like mole out there. Jonathan, do you know what mole is?
I don't. I'm excited to learn.
Oh, Jonathan. All right. Jonathan didn't know what elotes were. He didn't know what a patito was. Everything that is orbiting in my world, you did not know about. So that's why we have a show like Mi Gente on Air, right? Just so that my producer can learn.
It's all for me.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. We're going to go back into the show right now.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Mi Gente on Air. Another edition here as we're celebrating 3 years at the Alpha Media Studio at WSGW. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and we're going to talk more about another event that's happening this weekend, actually Sunday, that is not in the Saginaw local area, but I wanted to give it time because I know that there will be a lot of Saginaw people that will be interested in a mole contest. Now, we have the Tamale Taste-Off, which is going to be happening here in the Saginaw area on December 17th. It's always the Sunday before Christmas, and we're going to have, those vendors out there again who are vying for the best tamale makers in the area. Our winner last year was TNT, Authentic Mexican Restaurant, and this is going to be our 13th annual Tamale Taste-Off. But guess what? They've got something similar going on in Southwest Detroit. Southwest Detroit, where you have many Latinos, immigrants, as well as second, third, fourth generation who make mole. Now, what is mole? Well, I'm going to have my guest, who is an author. She's a historian, and she is somebody who is positive about everything happening in Southwest Detroit. Please help me welcome to Mi Gente on Air, Maria Elena Rodriguez. Maria, how are you?
Good, Larry. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see my friends in Detroit. It's been many years since we've been involved in anything together, actually, because of what happened with COVID and everything else. But it's a pleasure to know that you guys are bringing back the Holy Mole Contest after 3 years absence, right?
That is correct. It was a huge hit, and it was the brainchild of Martina Guzman and Christina. And I'm thrilled to be part of it. It's an opportunity to bring the talent that we have no idea we have in Southwest Detroit. We have so many ladies who I refer to as our culinary queens who make mole. And for your producer, if you like, I can share what mole is.
Yes, please, because it's such a big part of the Mexican community, believe it or not, but a lot of people don't know what mole is.
Well, and mole, for a lot of us who are here third, fourth generation, it's a sauce. It's more of a gravy that's made. It's based on powdered chiles. I know my grandmother, when she came here in the early 20s, she didn't have access to all the spices and everything that we have access to today. So that's like the base. But mole, that as we see it today, mole comes from the word moli, means mixture in the Nahuatl language. So mole is it's such a variety in the central part of Mexico to the southern part. So you have mole from Oaxaca is referred to as the state of the seven moles because there are 7 different kinds of moles. There's yellow, black, red, orange, and on and on. The mole that we're familiar with generically throughout the United States is mole poblano. Mole poblano is from the state of Puebla, and that is referred to as the iconic fusion of Spain and the indigenous culture, the food itself. So that we have we had the turkey, which is our gift next week, is our gift to the United States and the rest of the world because the turkey is native to Mexico. So the mole was a mixture of the spices that were brought over by the Spaniards combined with our ingredients in Mexico. The chocolate, anything that ends with ate or ote, like aguacate, chocolate, chocolate, all of that is indigenous to Mexico. So the chocolate was added in Puebla, and that was all created in the convents of Puebla. The nuns made it. And that evolved, and that's something that we embrace here now, mole poblano.
Yeah, and isn't it something how there's so many parts of our culture that, originate with the mixture of the Spaniards and the indigenous Indians. And,
Yeah.
just like we went through Dia de los Muertos, recently. And mole is really that food, I think, at least in my family, that is always prepared for very special occasions. I
Yes.
remember my mother talking about her wedding. It was 70 years ago. They're both passed now, but mom used to always talk about how her it was my great grandmother, Cecilia, how she made her fantastic mole from, Guandacarrillo, Michoacan. And
Oh, yeah.
that was the dinner that everybody feasted on their wedding. And it was just amazing, they said. And I know that when I have mole, and I do like the chocolate one, but I also like peanut butter in mine. But I like any kind of mole. It's my actual favorite food, Jonathan. It's my favorite. It beats out patitos. It beats out all those other things that we have. I love mole, and it's nice to see. I know that Carmelitas is a new restaurant here in Saginaw. They just opened up within the last month, and they are serving mole, and not every restaurant does. And so,
Right.
like, when you have a restaurant or you have an individual who can make mole, it's very special. And yesterday, I celebrated the 90th birthday of one of my cousins, Mary Castañeda. She's like an aunt to me, and she just turned 90, and
Oh,
she
my.
made mole the way Grandma Cecilia made it. And she told me as I was leaving, because she was passing out mole to all of us in containers to take home, she said, "It's the last time I'm ever going to make it." So,
Oh,
that's how special it really is. And
yeah.
so mole is just, when you hear it, and I hear it on your poster, it speaks out to me when I see the holy mole. Tell us the name. Why did you guys choose that name? And now I think with this contest festival, you're actually adding Tamale Festival at the bottom. Tell us about that.
Well, part of that of the holy mole, it just caught on. It just made sense, and that's why the ladies decided to use that term, and it was a way of capturing the interest of so many people across the board, and so that stuck. So here's holy mole number 4. What we added, because we noticed that the ladies were also, our vendors were bringing in tamales. And it's
Yes.
not the traditional tamal that many of us know, that's wrapped in a corn husk. Many of them are wrapped in banana leaves, and
Yeah.
their fillings are something that we may not be familiar with. So they're going to be selling those, and you'll be able to sample those. And some of the ladies will be selling atole. And if you ever eat a tamal in Mexico, you always have to have atole with it. And the atole is, I describe it like a cup of oatmeal, watery oatmeal without the flakes. and it's just the best thing in the cold weather. And you can have it in different flavors. They're going to have guayaba flavored atole. They're going to have the chocolate one, and they're going to have a variety of flavors available at this Holy Moly event. And I really, I'm highly recommending people come on down, buy a bag of mole. You can put it aside for a couple months if you need to, and it'll be as good as if it were just made. The other thing that it is made traditionally in these kitchens, when I say traditionally, and you know this, Larry, and your aunt or your cousin, there's at least 30 ingredients that are, and they have to grind these down manually to get all those ingredients. You have raisins, you have almonds, you have the chiles.
Seeds.
It's and the reason that they had all of these ingredients back 200 years ago is that the nuns had a lot of assistants. They had a lot of people in the kitchen that were doing a lot of the grunt work for them so that they can get all of this. It was very elaborate. They wouldn't have been able to do it just one person. So, but that tradition has been passed on down. And here we have this gem of an event taking place on Sunday.
Yes, yes. And I remember my cousin, Mary, she said to me that, it is going to be her last time making it because it's just too much work. And
Exactly.
and she explained to me a few years back of how great grandmother Cecilia taught her how to make this mole. And in those days, she used to grind, on her hands and knees, and not the molcajete, but the
Metate.
metate, yeah, the metate. And she would be there grinding the corn as well as the sesame seed seeds.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it was a lot of work, but boy, the time and the love that she put into that. I remember her saying her arms, Grandma Cecilia's arms were strong because she was over there grinding the actual seeds and all. So,
Sure.
I'm so happy you guys are doing it again. You're bringing it back. Just
Yes.
like our tamale taste off, we had to, because of COVID, we didn't have it, I think, for 3 years. And now you're bringing it back. So I attended the event, I think before COVID, and it was just amazing. It was so cultural. It was so beautiful. You would go around to each of the stations,
Mhm.
and like she said, some of the vendors, not only did they have their mole to buy, but they also had like a mocajete, and they had just the setup was so beautiful, and they had tamales, like she was saying. And actually, we invited one of your vendors that was participating in the Holy Mole contest to our tamale taste off, and they came and they sold out. They were the only ones that had the banana tamale, the banana,
Oh, nice.
and it was really nice to see that because it gave a great variety here as well in Saginaw. And so, these are really the cultural events that are so special to our community. And we started out at the Union Civica with the tamale taste off. We had maybe the first year 200 people, then it grew to 300 people, then it grew to moving out of the Union Civica, and we had it at Nouvelle Elementary School, and it drew 750 people last year.
Wow.
We were hitting over 1,000 people, and the beauty of it is that we're sharing the culinary expertise of those who are making tamales. And it's not just Latinos that like it. They are
Right.
many non-Latinos that are attending our event. And I think that's the way it's going to go with the Holy Moly contest. Now, Jonathan, I know that you have heard in your lifetime, holy moly, that expression. And I think that's where they're going, why it's so catchy, the Holy Moly. Mole, it's with an accent on the E, Holy
Mhm.
Mole. And how do you feel about going to that type of event?
If I didn't have to work, I would be there. And I was thinking, I'm trying to think of ways like, hey, is Larry going? Can I slip him a bit of money and tell him, hey,
Yeah.
go pick some mole out for me. I want to try this.
I definitely want to go. I went with my cousin Pauline Cap, like I said, in 2019, and it just was such a beautiful event, highly attended, and just such
Yeah.
cultural love. And not only did they have vendors for mole or tamales, but there was also cultural items that were also for sale there, and they had
Well,
vendors.
another thing is that they sell, we have bread, we have cheese, homemade cheese, like fresh queso fresco, fresh cheese.
Mhm.
And they're the first things that go. I mean, it was just amazing to see that at these events. It's like if you're not there the first hour, you miss out on a lot of the good stuff. Um, the other thing that I want to share with you, you were pointing out, Larry, that how you've grown with the tamale contest from one site to another. We're going to be having this event. It's an inaugural event at a new site, which is really an old site. So
Yeah, tell us about that.
yeah, it's pretty exciting, especially for old timers like me. It's like, oh my goodness, somebody bought the old Lithuanian Hall, which is located at 3564 West Verner, just east of West Grand Boulevard. The Lithuanian Hall has now been inaugurated, well, not inaugurated, but rebranded as Candela Detroit. And it is back in the day, and I'm sure in Saginaw there's old halls as well, where the ballroom is on the second floor.
Mhm.
That's how this is. So it's going to take place there. We're excited about it. It's right like in the hub of what's going on in our community. And we welcome everybody. It's free admission. What I do recommend to everyone, and I know that there's all these new applications out there, but please just bring cash. It makes it easier for yourself. It makes it easier for the vendors. And you don't walk away saying, oh man, I have to go to the bank and, or get some cash or whatever. Do it like that. It's just a little tip if you're coming on down. And we have 10 contestants so far. And that's pretty much what we've had every year. We have 3 judges, one representing an upcoming restaurant that's going to open in Midtown. I'm really excited about this because it's like a white tablecloth, very chic, sophisticated Mexico City cuisine coming to town.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
exciting.
yep. And the name of the restaurant is Vecino. I'm not sure which chef is going to come and participate as a judge, but they will be representing Vecino. And George Azar, who was a judge in the last event, is the owner and chef of Flowers of Vietnam. He spent quite some time in Mexico City as well. So he's familiar with the smells and the scents and the tastes of our cuisine. So he's going to be a judge. And Selden Standard, which is an upscale restaurant in Midtown, it's just coincidence. But I don't have the name of that chef, but we'll be also judging. So we have 3 judges, 10 at this point in time, 10 contestants signed up, and just a lot of excitement, activity. I just highly recommend that everyone come down. Whoever can come down, you can freeze, as you all know, you can freeze the tamales, pick them up, freeze them for a later date, or pick up a bag of your mole. There's going to be different moles too. There's going to be black mole. There's going to be mole de Guerrero. There's going to be mole poblano. You can pick and choose, and it'll stay until you need it.
And check this out. So you go in there and it's a free event, like Maria Elena said, and you get to taste each of the vendors' mole. So you get to taste it as you go along.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to buy it. At the end, you're going to want to buy the best mole that you like, and you can buy 1 or 2 or 3. And man, it was so good because, like I said, mole is my favorite food. And if you've got a good mole, a sauce, and you taste that, it just melts in your mouth, and it's just such a wonderful event. And I think that anybody who can make a good mole, you're going to see a lot of people buying theirs, and you'll know who, and to me, now think about it. These are mostly culinary experts who make mole on a continuous basis and are in Southwest Detroit. That says something in itself, because these are usually individuals who have immigrated from Mexico directly,
Yes.
or are second or first generation, and they know what they're doing. Believe me. It's a wonderful event. I've participated in. My cousin Pauline Cap, if she's on here tonight, please leave a message, because we walked away from that and we're like, wow, that was really something. And so maybe in the future we'll have something similar in Saginaw. Right now we're pushing the tamale taste off. And I'm so happy to see that Southwest Detroit is offering this event where it's only 90 miles down south, really. And if you're not doing anything Sunday, I would say make plans to attend this event. You'll be glad. You'll say, Larry, thank you for telling us about this holy mole. And
And
I'm so glad.
Larry, I'm sorry, one of the things with the mole, don't worry about saying, oh, geez, I have to buy a whole bag of it. And what am I going to do with this whole bag? You could just scoop a little bit out and you can make some enchiladas with it. Just dip your corn tortillas in it, soften them, dip it in there and fill them with some chicken or cheese. And you're good to go. There's so many things you can make with mole.
Yeah. So tell me, Maria Elena, do you make mole yourself?
I don't make it with the 35 ingredients.
No,
I cheat.
neither.
I buy the paste.
Okay,
I buy it from the ladies, and I love to cook, as you know. But I buy the paste from the ones that my favorite, and then I add the fresh. I do make my own chicken stock. That's for sure. So it's nice and fresh. And when and that's when I make my mole, or prepare the mole, because it's not my mole. I'm preparing somebody's mole for my family.
Yeah. And I know that those that have made it, they got to have a lot of patience and they got to be willing, to really bring that together because, like I said, a lot of times it's only made on special occasions. You will have a restaurant or two that will make it year round. But I don't see that too much. I'm sure you see that much more in Southwest Detroit.
Well, the only one that makes their homemade mole, and he's such an expert, is Norberto, who owns El Barzón.
Yes.
He shuts down. I think the days that he's off, one of those days, I don't know how many times he does it a month, but it's all they do is make the mole paste and pipián. Pipián is a version of mole that's made with the pumpkin seed.
Yeah. Well, Jamie Monacaro's on here. He says El Barzón has the best mole I have had in Michigan. So
he's right.
Yes, and
Jamie, you're right, because he really does. He knows his stuff. He was our judge for the last 3 years, but he's been really swamped. And he was also James Beard, one of the finalists last year, I believe. So yeah, he knows his stuff, and mis respetos, because he does an incredible job. Anytime you want mole or pipián, that's the place to go, El Barzón.
Well, Antonio Villarreal, he's a Saginaw native but lives in Southwest Detroit now. He says that you can also put it on French fries and rice. Yeah.
Hey, it's your world. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, but that sauce, you can do, I love it with homemade rice, Mexican rice. That's just the best. And I just had it yesterday, and like I said, my aunt, my cousin made it, and it was really more spicy than I thought it was going to be. And I really liked it. I really like that spice in there. And like I said, I've had it where there has been chocolate added as well as peanut butter. And I noticed that on hers, I didn't taste no chocolate or peanut butter. So everybody makes it different.
Yes.
And I think the older recipes from way back in Mexico, I don't believe that they use the chocolate or peanut butter. That's something that's been added through the generations. And
actually, the chocolate and peanuts, not peanut butter, but the chocolate and peanuts, they would brown the peanuts into the original mole. So again, it depends on each region. It's Guerrero's known for some incredible mole, red mole, and so Guerrero, Oaxaca, all the southern states, they all have their different moles, and they all have their preferences. So, but you get to taste some of it this Sunday.
Yeah, and also besides chicken, there's also turkey mole, and there's just different varieties, and you'll see that this Sunday. Every one of those vendors is going to be different. They're not going to be the same, and you'll go around and you taste it, and you'll say, wow. And I'm sure that like the very first one that you taste, you're like, wow, because on your palate, by the time you hit to the 10th one, you're like, okay, but they're just so delicious, every one of them. And I really encourage my listeners out there, if you're hearing this, make plans for Sunday, go to Southwest Detroit and go to it's the old Lithuanian church. What is it, Maria?
It's now Candela. It's a Candela Hall. And
why did they call it that?
Well, Candela, the lady who purchased I apologize for not having her name. She's, I believe, from Argentina, and she just purchased that building. And Candela is a saying I know that is commonly used in Puerto Rico and in Cuba. Candela, it's like, give it life is pretty much what it means. It's a slang, Candela. But she renamed it.
I recently had a post on Facebook about, because my parents celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary. They would have been married 70 years on Halloween, this last Halloween that went by. And I questioned, and if anybody remembered the hall on 5th Street in Saginaw, it was a hall that had the dance floor on the second floor, just like you said, Maria. And so, I couldn't remember the name, and I'm dying to know what that hall was. I know it's knocked down, but I remember as a child, my mom, us riding by on the one-way on 5th, and she'd say, "That's where I met your dad." And so, I want to know what the name of that hall was. If anybody's out there and can remember, it was on 5th Street on the one-way close going to Genesee. But
and another question, Larry, ask them why. Does somebody know why they were built on the second floor? Because there were so many of these old buildings that had ballrooms on the second floor.
Yeah, we'll have to do that maybe on the next show. But thank you, Maria Elena, so much. It's been a pleasure. And again, I encourage everybody to go Sunday to the Hole Mole Tamale Festival.
I hope to see you there.
Thank you again, everybody. It's been a pleasure. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and we'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air.
Gracias, Larry.
Hi, everybody. Yes, Maria Elena is still with me here. And yes, this show is going to air 8 o'clock on Sunday on WSGW. So the event will actually have passed already because it's Saturday afternoon.
No, Sunday.
Oh, Sunday afternoon. I'm sorry. But the thing is on the live stream here, you'll be able to pick it up all week on Facebook. And
from 1 to 5.
1 to 5. Yeah, that's important. So everybody out there, 1 to 5 on Sunday. And that's November the 17th?
19th. Sunday, November the 19th.
Yeah, I've got my dates all mixed up here. But
that's okay. That's
Martina Guzman, I'm so happy. I know her, she was instrumental in starting this. And
this
I know
is her baby.
Yeah, so I'm so happy it's coming back. And we wanted to have Martina on the show. She wasn't available, so she sent the next best thing, right? Maria Elena Rodriguez, who has been so instrumental in the Southwest Detroit Mexican community for so many years. And I think you have been a part of it much longer than I have even been publishing Mi Gente, which is going on 30 years, Maria.
Wow,
can you believe it? So,
wow, I can't.
Yeah, it's really something.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. And we have to continue with these types of events, the Hole Mole and the Tamale Taste Off here in Saginaw, and get some of the other communities like Lansing and Flint, because that's our culture. It's our contribution. And I think that just like the food trucks that are so popular now, I think these events are going to become more and more popular as the years go on. So thank you.
And just mark on your calendar, Larry, and next year, or I believe it's actually 25, the beginning of 25, we're opening the huge Ralph Wilson Park. That's part of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. And it'll be right behind the main post office on 4th Street near our community. Wow. And we're going to have a lot of programming out of Southwest Detroit and Mexican Town that's going to be involved with that park.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, just make sure you keep me involved, okay?
I will.
Yeah. Don't forget about me here in Saginaw.
Not at all. We'll make sure you're all welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, it's been a pleasure. We're always going to accept your comments and your questions, because this is your show too. Mi Gente on Air, my people. So please join us week after week as we continue on this road of broadcasting and bringing culture and contributions and concerns of our Latino people to the table. Thank you so much, everyone.